Right, and Chukwudi Okolie-Ugbaja is already seated, adjusting his glasses and ready to...
Yes, I'm not in...
Good morning.
Good morning, Victor. I'm not in discomfort, but I know that a cold is on the way. I'll deal with it.
Well, you have the weekend to do that.
My friend who's in California now said, Chukwudi, don't bother too much about cold. If you have a cold, you treat it, it lasts 1 week. If you don't treat it, it lasts 7 days. Good morning, Yere.
Good morning,
How are you doing?
Good to see you.
All right, let's begin. Right?
Sure. Begin with the Daily Trust this morning. The Daily Trust leads with 33.8 billion naira fraud. Conviction revives Mambila scandal. All right. Away from that, Senate reverses leadership eligibility rule. That's on page 8. Interesting. 2027 is the kicker of this one. Shatima leads 12 governors to submit Tinubu's forms. That's on page 11. And health is also getting attention here. What you should know about hantavirus. That's the new one. That's on page 21. Away from the picture story, just below it, in a black strip, how Jonathan's presidential bid resurfaced. And that's on page 5. Gunmen abduct 6 Nasarawa varsity students. Not a good one, but page 26 has all of that. Bello El-Rufai's defection, that's the kicker. What changed? And Nigerian exporters embrace China's zero tariff policy with caution. All right. Beautiful. That's on page 7. Let's look away from the Daily Trust now and see what the leadership is offering this morning. The leadership leads with the statement of the governor of Katsina, Governor Rada, moles in government, security agencies, communities aiding bandits. That's on page 4. Ex-Power Minister Maman convicted of 33.8 billion naira fraud. 2027 presidency. Jonathan says he will consult widely. ADC others react. And the picture story is that of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, acknowledging cheers from the crowd during the visit to the members of Coalition of Jonathan 2027 in Abuja yesterday. All right, let's look away from that now. Senator Oke's appeal court as final arbiter of pre-election cases. Or your APC Guba aspirant promises jobs, power, education. And we also have the abduction of Nasarawa University students, right here on page 23. Finally, just beside the masthead, windstorm kills 3-year-old, destroys 1,000 houses in Niger. That's on page 24. That's about it on the leadership this Friday.
Thank you. And I have the blueprint with me, which leads with this major story: xenophobic attacks. FG moves to rescue citizens in South Africa, commits to diaspora engagement. And it has a rider: my posting, opportunity to serve Nigeria better. That's according to Fanny Kayode, and that story is on page 6. Above the nameplate, Nigeria records 281,500 compromised accounts amid rising cyber threats. That's on page 23. And below the nameplate, El-Rufai's trial stalled. Court hears preliminary motions June 1, page 9. In business, Naira strengthens to 1,357 to $1 amid CBN support, Treasury bill inflows. That's on page 23. And in sports, Mekaba, Uweja Memori emerge Flying Eagles, Eaglets coaches. That's on page 32. The picture story, of course, details Vice President Shatima and other APC stakeholders, including the national chairman, submitting President Tinubu's re-election forms. As he says, Nigeria walking. That's on page 6. All right, the Jonathan story, Sally Maman's story have been read earlier. To the last set, NIMET warns of flooding in Lagos, Delta, Rivers, 16 others. That's on page 6. Windstorm destroyed 1,200 houses in Niger. That's according to Nsema, and on page 15. Gunmen abduct 6 Nasarawa varsity students is on page 14. And fight against fake news, hate speech collective responsibility, that's credited to Idris. That's the Minister of Information and National Orientation, and you find details on page 14. Chukwudi.
Victor, how many accounts did you say got compromised there?
281,500.
The good thing is that yours is not going to be one of them because they only compromise accounts that have money. But to talk on a serious note, Victor, you see, when you tap on all those cookies, you know, you download certain things and you tap on cookies that allow them get into your account, sometimes you are warned that these could be a stepping stone to your account being compromised. So I think we need to give out as much information as possible to the people. Translate this into different Nigerian languages, because the cyber attacks you're talking about are going to continue on and on. It's like a new product coming out, software or whatever. Immediately it comes out, people also start working to compromise it. It's the job of some people. It's just like what you said about banditry now. How are you sure that the 6 Nasarawa people abducted were abducted by bandits, the students? We don't even know
who abducts people.
Oh, well, I don't know.
You want to say by give the blanket criminals.
Just call them kidnappers. Call them kidnappers. Bandits may not be the point I'm making, Victor, anyway, is that when you hear herdsmen have done this, herdsmen have done this, people are now using that as a ruse to do many things. I am saying this so that our security forces, I know they already know that, would look beyond bandits and all. Somebody got kidnapped close to where I lived at the time, and one of the things they said, so one of them later said, be careful the kind of people you really say are your friends. So nobody comes from somewhere and picks people without a mole being there. Governor Diko of Katsina State is now joining my dear Babagana Zulum to say that there are moles in government, security agencies, you know, helping these people. It's out there in the open now. So we need to be very vigilant.
But were you not here when former President Jonathan said there are bandits in his government at the time?
I was happy he didn't say that before he comes into the office, they are sitting in this chair, you know. But Victor, yes, occasionally we get jocular over these things, but they are very serious matters. And that tells you that fighting insurgency, banditry in Nigeria is not as easy as Nigerians make it. That's the kind of point I try to make online, and I attract a lot of flack from people. It is not easy. You're leaving the barracks on an operation. Somebody has already talked to somebody about they're coming. Oh, this is where they're. It's not going to be easy at all. The only way we can defeat these people is when we all join the fight against banditry, insurgency, and terrorism.
We must also manage information better, especially within the security circle.
Well, you're a journalist. You would always point to the other one, which I think is a very, very good move.
All right, 33.8 billion naira fraud conviction revives Mambila scandal.
Just leave me alone, eh? Just leave me with a few coins in my... The question you ask, please, a conviction has happened already, so we're not sub judice in any way. We're not in contempt of court. It's only sentencing that has not happened. So the question I ask is, what does a man need even 10 billion naira for? Like say you could be one thief. I would be a petty thief.
You've got to ask
because it's so easy to maintain me in life. I'm not expensive. What would a man need 10 billion naira for? Now you're talking about how much?
33.8
Is that not insane? Does it make sense? That's the point I'm making.
It could be more, you know.
Our own too much. I don't understand. The man has been convicted, so we can talk this way. You know? It doesn't make sense. There was something that happened in my village, and the person was poisoned, and we went to the brother to mention another case. And he said, how then go give my people money, plenty people money, and only my brother takes it? That's why they killed him. Same mama, same papa. He had to say it. And that was how Africa was in those days. You couldn't run into my house after stealing. I will expose you. I'll tell them this is where you are. Then suddenly everything changed. And look at where we are now. It's really unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Only yesterday I was watching one of the foreign stations and foreign channels, and I saw somewhere that 2 former defense ministers in China have been sentenced to death for corruption. Well, let's read this one. Xenophobic attacks. FG moves to rescue citizens in South Africa. Commits to diaspora engagement. And Fani Kayode, redeployed from Germany, says my posting opportunity to serve Nigeria better.
It's okay. I wish Fani Kayode well. Let me quickly go to the xenophobic attacks. How are we handling the welfare of our people, the well-being of our people? That should be our focus now. I heard Mrs. Bianca Odumegojuku talking just, and they are talking with the South Africans at that level, of course. Many people will say what they're saying is not enough. Let's go and deal with them. I don't know how much you can deal with South Africa. You can, even if they were close to you, close to us, in terms of boundary, geography, their force is a big force. But that's not even the point. I want to go to, let us deal with MTN, deal with DSTV. Victor will remind us that journalists push emotions aside and talk reality. So the reality is that people who are saying, revoke MTN license. That's not operating license, isn't it? You revoke it, you may be talking about demobilizing information sharing by at least 50 million Nigerians. So it's not an easy option. That's not where to go. Where we could go is do not register any other South African company henceforth. But people who say revoke, I just look at them and laugh. Financial calamity on Nigerians is something you don't want to
We discussed this extensively yesterday.
You did?
This was what
so if experts have talked.
We had people from, we had someone from South Africa.
Okay.
You know, certainly what I could pick from that conversation yesterday is that, well, we could be a bit harder. Of course, the issue of dealing with DSTV, it also affects Nigerians because we work there. Nigerians work there and all of those. But we can be harder in diplomacy.
In diplomacy.
You can be harder and make them see
but did any of them mention
and make them
revoking
see
any license?
that they can lose, that they have a lot to lose.
Yes.
We could move, you know, our businesses, which the business between Nigeria and South Africa is at about, if I remember correctly, $16 billion somewhere there, and that we could move it elsewhere that you could lose. And if African countries, ECOWAS also has a role to play, African Union has a role to play. If they say, look, if this is what you want to do, and then isolate South Africa, they have a lot to lose.
What they were saying is that we could all act in concert against South Africa. But definitely nobody would have mentioned that revoke licenses.
I don't think anything. I don't think anything is too much to do because the lives of Nigerians are being wasted right there in South Africa. And for one life, one Nigerian, we should do what is necessary and urgent to protect other Nigerians that are there.
A reporter is talking to a reporter. This room is always full of quarrels.
I don't think anything. I don't think anything is too much. Other telecommunication companies will measure up.
No.
When there's a gap,
that's not an option.
You feel it.
I know it's not.
Anyways, 2027 is around the corner. Senate reverses leadership eligibility rule. Jonathan's presidential bid resurfaces, all of that. President Tinubu has submitted his forms. What do you feel?
May
as we look forward to 2027?
May her soul rest in perfect peace. I'm talking about Onyeka Onwenu. When I was GM of one station in Jos, when Jonathan was going to was going for a second term, she came out with them.
Run, Jonathan.
Run, Jonathan, run. You know, I'm a very good singer. You know,
but not to save your life.
I don't know whether Jonathan will run. I don't know whether I want Jonathan to run. But if he indeed runs, you know.
If he does run.
And who's the other guy now? Obi and Kwakwaso run. And our dear President runs.
runs.
Look, it's going to be battle royal. I will write the story.
And Atiku runs.
The producer says you should run away from the
I
studio
will run away
too.
from the studio. People are running into trouble.
It's time to go to